Hi everyone, this is a short video about factoring trinomials. This video will be about factoring trinomials that are in the form x squared plus bx plus c. What the implication is here is that there's a 1 in front of this x squared, so there's a specific way that we can factor trinomials that are in this form, and so we're going to look at that in this video. In the next video, we'll look at what happens when there's a different number in front of x squared other than 1, or some number other than 1 as the leading coefficient. So one thing to remember is factored form. For example, if we have x plus 2 times x plus 3, if we did FOIL, or if we did the distributive property and we multiplied these together, we would get, in fact, why don't we do that? I'm going to do FOIL here. I'm going to do x times x as x squared. X times 3 is 3x. 2 times x is 2x. 2 times 3 is 6. If I combine my like terms here, we get x squared plus 5x plus 6. So x plus 2 times x plus 3 is equal to x squared plus 5x plus 6. So this x plus 2 times x plus 3 is the factored form of x squared plus 5x plus 6. And one of the things that we notice is that 3 times 2 is 6. 3 plus 2 is 5. And this is a pretty significant connection here. This is how we're going to factor polynomials or trinomials that are written in this form. So let's take a look at another example here. X squared plus 6x plus 8. So if we keep that in mind, that when we did our factors, and this is what our factors look like, there was an x and there was an x, but there's some number here and some number here, that when I multiplied them, I got 8, but when I added them together, I could get 6. So let's look at some factors of 8. 8 is 1 times 8. 8 is 2 times 4. 8 is negative 1 times negative 8. It's also negative 2 times negative 4, right? Because negative times a negative is positive, negative times a negative is positive, so it's always possible. But what we're looking for is something that equals 6. And if I look at these two pairs here, 2 times 4, if I add them, I get 6. So I need to get a positive 8. So I'm going to do positive 2 times positive 4 gets me 8. Positive 2 plus positive 4 gives me a 6. So factored form for x squared plus 6x plus 8 is x plus 2 times x plus 4. You could also write x plus 4 times x plus 2. The commutative property says either way is totally okay. So that's the trick. We look at the last term and find factors that add up to the coefficient of the middle term. That's what we do. So let's look at a few more examples here. So let's look at x squared minus 10x plus 25. So I need two factors of 25 that are going to add up to negative 10. So let's look at factors of 25. There's 1 times 25. There's 5 times 5. There's negative 1 times negative 25. There's negative 5 times negative 5. And I want to make sure that I get negative 10. So looking at this, negative 5 plus negative 5 is negative 10. So this tells me that these make up my factors for x squared minus 10x plus 25. Now, if you're not sure, we can always do multiplication to confirm our answer. So I'm going to do FOIL. So I'll do x times x and get x squared. X times negative 5 is negative 5x. Negative 5 times x is negative 5x. Negative 5 times negative 5 is positive 25. Add my like terms, x squared minus 10x plus 25. So I get back to my original. So x minus 5 times x minus 5. So we do have to be careful sometimes about the signs that are involved. Here, we do have to be always careful about the signs that are involved. This one's positive and that one's negative. Let's take a look at a couple of more examples here. Let's see. X squared plus 4x minus 32. So I need factors of negative 32 that add up to a positive 4. So let's look at factors of negative 32. That means that one of these two factors has to be negative, right? So I could do 1 times negative 32 or negative 1 times a positive 32, but those aren't going to really work for me. I could do 2 times negative 16 or negative 2 times a positive 16. That's also, if I add these together, I get a positive 14. That doesn't quite work. So I could do 4 times a negative 8 or negative 4 times a positive 8. And looking carefully, right, if I add these together, I get a positive 4. So my factors are x minus 4, x plus 8. Now, you don't need to list out all of the factors. I'm doing it just so I can show you where I'm getting my numbers from, but you may make the connection very quickly. But it doesn't hurt, actually, to make a list of all the possible factors, including the signs that they could be, just to make sure that you have looked at all of the options. So let's look at a couple more, 2 more examples, and then I think we'll be done here. Let's look at x squared minus 7x plus 5. So I need 2 factors of 5 that will add up to negative 7. All right. So if we look at that, the only options I have for 5 are 1 and 5 and negative 1 and negative 5. In neither situation, if I do addition here, in neither situation do I actually end up with negative 7. In fact, here I end up with a negative 6. That's not what I'm looking for. If that happens, if I can't find factors that will add up to that middle coefficient, we say that this polynomial is prime, meaning it can't be factored. This is as simple, this is its factored form. In fact, its factored form is the polynomial times 1. So it's prime. So sometimes that can happen. My last example is something like this. 2x cubed minus 18x squared plus 40x. As you can see, this coefficient is not a 1, so this is going to makes this a little bit more challenging, or makes it something that should give us pause. But first thing, what is the GCF? See if we can figure out the GCF for this. For 2, 18, and 40, it's 2. For x cubed, x squared, and x, it's 2x. So if we factor out, we did this previously, if we factored out a 2x, what would we have in the parentheses? 2x times what would give us x cubed? Well, that would be x squared. 2x times what gives us negative 18x squared? It would be negative 9x. 2x times what would give us positive 40x? That would be 20. So now I do have a trinomial that we know how to factor. So I want to find 2 factors of 20 that add up to negative 9. So let's look at some of the factors here. Let's see, negative 1 times 20, sorry, positive 1 times 20, negative 1 times negative 20, 2 times 10, negative 2 times negative 10, 4 times 5, negative 4 times negative 5. And negative 4 times negative 5 will add up to negative 9. So my factors for this polynomial are x minus 4 and x minus 5. And fully factored, it's 2x times x minus 4 times x minus 5. So sometimes we can have even 3 factors for a polynomial. So that's the end of this video regarding factoring trinomials in the form x squared plus bx plus c.